Hey everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Janos, I'm a professional concept artist. I work in games and movies the last 7 years and I'm also a art teacher. And today we're going to react to PEWDIEPie. One of my students recommended me to react on PEWDIEPie's video and that's what we're going to do.
Drawing. It's hard. Here's a picture I drew when I was 7 years old. It's me and my dad showering. What's the problem? I know what you're thinking. Endless potential in this young artist. The truth is, I always liked drawing. I just never practiced it. So in my last video, I decided to try and practice drawing every day for...
Oh, I actually haven't watched that video, but that doesn't matter, I think. Let's just continue to watch it.
30 days. And I realized, this is amazing. I'm having so much fun. And I could compare the result when I started to after 30 days, and it was a big difference. So it really made me motivated to keep going, and especially
those anime girls. Okay, let's continue.
With everyone in the comments being so supportive. Therefore, I continued, and we're at day 100. I drew every day for 100 days.
Nice.
So let's look at the result. Did we have the same kind of improvement?
I wonder actually what was his motivation behind. As someone who's teaching people on a daily basis, I'm more curious about what drives people to go deep into art, especially if you have a goal that you want to reach or if you just want to do art for yourself.
Here we are.
So he did sketchbook. I didn't know that this is going to be a sketchbook video, but even better, even better.
I'm so excited because I purposely have not looked at these old ones as well, so we can hopefully experience this together. Just for reference, this is where I started off at day 0. And this is where we left off at day 30. I really didn't like these.
Okay, so this was from the other videos. So day 30 then, which looks, yeah, pretty much like someone who just started to draw, I would say.
I bought these markers or pens to fill in. I thought it would automatically make it better, but it was just really hard.
Biggest misconception, and I experienced that myself, when you see someone drawing ink and you feel like, oh, that looks so good, don't believe it's going to be better if you try it for the first time, because then you not only deal with learning to draw something, but also to deal with a complete new medium, which is kind of like overkill. Anyways.
5 days after I'd done my video, I felt like I just lost sort of what I had gained. Like, I was so mad about it, and I felt like a fraud. Like, oh, I just...
That is really interesting that he feels mad about himself, and that he also kind of like deals with the psychological effect of not drawing anymore. Because if you don't draw for a while after you have drawn for a long period, then it's always kind of like you have to get back into the groove. This is also how I started when I was 23 with drawing, is just to draw every day a tiny bit, but just improving every single day and making sure that you at least draw 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day, because you also have to get used to the hand-eye coordination of holding a pen, drawing, making a good line. It actually takes a long time to get to the point. But I actually find the thinking of guilt of him also very interesting, since I also have a lot of students who deal with that, who have these troubles on a daily basis, but they actually try and want to become professional artists who want to make this their job. And every day they don't work, they feel guilty, which is technically not so healthy, because even as an artist and even if you have fun, you need to take breaks. That's absolutely important and crucial. So don't beat yourself up.
Just trick everyone, because I couldn't draw anymore. Still, I kept going and I tried to draw as much as I had time to do and slowly gain back my momentum. I draw Momo here because Marta wanted me to, and she drew Momo as well. I added it to the end.
No.
Oh yeah, so my favorite...
I have to let that sink in. Okay.
Rhythm game is called Tunithum Sun, and they have these characters that are really interesting because they're so detailed and fun and weird. So I really like drawing these, and I feel like I got the proportions decent enough, which I couldn't do before. So yeah, I love drawing these. It's fun to try out different...
So it seems also like that he didn't had a specific game plan for the practice of drawing, which I feel is a dangerous game to play these days. Also an unnecessary game to play, because you have so many potential routes to strategically plan how to learn art and how to learn drawing, for example, because we don't focus on painting, or he's not focusing on painting, he's only focusing on drawing, which means he could at least write down like, okay, what do I have to learn? Perspective. Because like before you jump into anatomy, like he's doing partially here, you actually need to learn perspective, because what we want to learn first is how to communicate three-dimensional form and space. So we actually, as artists, are manipulators. We try to fool someone that our 2D drawing is three-dimensional on a sheet of paper. Something I feel, if you don't channel the right amount of information in your game plan, so let's say like you focus for 4 weeks only on geometric forms where you just draw boxes and cylinders and whatnot, rather than just draw what you like and see, it's more streamlined because you can also control a little bit more your learning flow. And you see the flip side to that can be you can have a bad drawing day if you just draw what you like and see. Nothing turns out well. But if you have a strategic plan where you, let's say, you draw geometric forms for an hour and then you draw what you want an hour after, you at least do your daily duties, let's say, right? So I hope that makes sense.
Different styles. I have not developed my own, and I'm just trying to draw different things that I see and like as much as possible. And that's what everyone told me as well. The best way to improve is draw from reference. So I do.
That's interesting that people still say that. I mean, yes and no. I believe the most important thing for any artist is imagination, because imagination is kind of like the translation of what's inside of you. Because you and I and PewDiePie and everyone else is different. Everyone has a different upbringing. Everyone has a different background. So we all could technically create different things, even though maybe we grew up in the same pop culture, right? I find imagination and communication, because drawing is communicating, is the most important part, right? So drawing a line and drawing a three-dimensional form is part of the communication, but what you actually communicate is even more important. So just drawing references was 10 years ago absolutely an option because we didn't know better. But these days, there's so many more approaches to learn, because the reference you technically only need to support the information. So let's say PewDiePie wants to draw a samurai or wants to draw a knight or something. And then he just draws a knight, but then he draws the knight and simultaneously he has some references. But he's not copying it, he's drawing it. So trying it by himself. The learn effect there is immense, is much, much bigger than just drawing the references, because you could ask him on the next day to draw that without the reference and to just see what you actually know. So you have a more sophisticated way to learn.
Do these super quick, and I felt like they were kind of fun and weird. Had a day. So sad, anime girl. Anyway, I finished the book. I never thought I would. So I bought this new one at a local store, and it was so shitty. Like, the pages are so flimsy.
Those are the best.
I started drawing more realistic, less anime,
I like
and
this
I drew
face.
this one. And my God, I was so proud of it. I loved it so much. I couldn't believe I drew it. And I felt like, yes, I did it. I drew something I liked. Finally. It was also kind of a blessing and a curse, because I would always compare whatever I drew to the best thing.
Probably he likes it because the angle was pretty good of the face, so it was a bit more interesting, like a tilted face, but also the ratio from eye to nose to chin was pretty good.
I drew. And it made me really hate a lot of stuff that I drew that I don't think was that bad. I don't know. Just drawing random stuff I find online on Pinterest and Google.
See, like he drew what he just saw. And that's the problem with this approach, is you kind of like draw what you like, but you don't streamline what you actually want, try to learn, right? So it's rather than just learning the craft versus actually learning to draw a cat or draw a face by imagination.
God damn it! I think I was having a bad day.
Oh. See, bad day.
I hated it. Always comparing. No, I don't.
Just in case you have the same problem, before I forget it, I just made a video 2 days ago about 20 weeks of drawing schedule. Just watch the video. I wrote everything in there. If you have the same trouble like him, I can just recommend it because I got so much positive feedback from the last video. It's basically a written plan.
Interesting, because I don't remember why. Maybe it was because I was just doing so bad. Who knows? It's interesting because now I look at this and I can immediately tell just like what's way off. The head is too small. It's not really balanced. It's the sort of stuff you automatically pick up when you draw. Yeah, and the eye is way too high up in comparison, you can see here. But anyway.
It's also very interesting how your skill and your eye is developing all the time, right? So first you see it's actually wrong, then your skill catches up to your eye and your perception, and then your eye gets better again and your skill catches. So it's kind of like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, never really stopping, even after years and years. You always try to improve, but it's also good because it kind of like keeps us going.
It's kind of fun to go through this, to be honest. Spend more time on some than others, I guess. 57 was
a lot of faces though.
Maybe not. Oh yeah, so I drew with no reference because everyone, like I said, everyone said draw with reference. That's the best way to improve, to study other forms and shapes. So I wanted to draw without just to sort of see if I was improving, and definitely felt like I had. So even though the eyes are too far apart, but hey.
See, that's exactly what I mean. He just realized it by himself.
You could also draw way quicker.
Good job, PewDiePie.
Now as well. But yeah, I sort of plowed through this book. So I bought this really big one, like a proper art book instead of a sketchbook. And I tore off the first 2 pages because the paper was so smooth and I wasn't used to it, and it was just so difficult. So no one will know what I drew, but I could actually fit a lot more into 1 page, which I think was really fun.
These faces looked actually really nice. I really like the ratio, especially the top left corner one and the one in the middle. Looks pretty cool.
Just look at it. Yes, I draw cat girls. Don't judge me. So I try to do 1 sort of page per day, which I really like doing. Try to commit to a more full body, different manga and stuff like that. You can see how many attempts it took me to actually draw something I was happy with.
But also, I want to say, I feel like now his characters and all his sketches get much stronger, because when you look at these hair shapes, for example, they get a bit more loose, but they also have more clarification in them. So they actually make better shapes, which means at the end, the overall drawing will just benefit from it, which is often something that some people learn or just realize, but some people, they just have to do the mileage over and over again, which is normal.
I feel like you draw 1 thing you like that will cost you 10 things you hate. I think I use myself as reference for some of these. I know that's kind of weird. I just...
What?
Needed the pose that I wanted to draw.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one too.
Okay. Related, definitely.
I don't want to be an anime girl. I just need the reference. Oh yeah, this one in the middle is Marzia. I drew it super quick. I asked her to pose for me. It's kind of bad, but it's fun to draw it. Here we go. So I borrowed one of Marcia's pens, the green one. It was really bad in the beginning, but I used the other end of it, and I think it was just too strong. I never used a marker before, so I wasn't sure how to do it. So I bought my own markers just to kind of try it out, and obviously it takes more time to color stuff, but I really enjoyed doing it, and it sort of makes them come to life more, and I was trying out different things. Sometimes it doesn't work.
It's so sad that he always kind of like scribbles over the drawing, even if they're bad. It's just part of getting better. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would probably also react the same as him, but not showing it is kind of like sad also when you think in the long run, if you look at your drawings 10 years later, because then you can't look at them anymore, which is kind of like sad. At some point also, the more professional you get, you also start to hide mistakes, because you still do mistakes, but then you can start to hide it, kind of like, I don't know, if you have trouble with the nose, you do hair above it, or people hide the hands of the characters, or they don't draw the feet or replace it, or they ink it, or they make it black or whatever. So you have so many possibilities at the end. The other thing, which is also kind of interesting, that he kind of like stays in his comfort zone. Obviously, he enjoys these girls and drawing girls because they also look good. But on the flip side, I would have liked to see him challenge himself a bit more.
I drew that one, but I was too scared to actually commit to coloring it because I thought I would ruin it. I spent 1 day trying to do green.
But I like how he uses the colors. Also, Copic markers are really cool. When I studied industrial design, a classmate had Copics and I never used the Copics before. So I started to do like environment sketches with them. And they actually helped me to understand grayscale structure and values in environments and how fog is working.
Then another doing blue, and I try to not waste much time.
It seems also that he has a little bit of natural understanding for these values because, for example, on the top one, he uses like a brighter blue, and then he has a more saturated, darker blue, like the shadow tone of the hair, which looks really cool. It's a really cool effect, I want to say.
Coloring, but then they get really sloppy and bad, so it's difficult. I did yellow, which I really love. I was trying out different methods of sort of how to make it interesting. Red and...
It is so sad because these sketches, they get so cool with the color. I wish he would have tried to practice more drawing in boxes, like drawing the head in a box or the skull in a box before, to give the faces more structure, right? Or to kind of like make them less flat. Because you have to imagine this, anytime you draw something and every time you want to think of it's like three-dimensional, it has 3D planes, three dimensions. So we want to have a 3D effect. If you start to lose one of these planes, the drawing becomes too flat. And then you also don't have, it's less hard if you would, for example, like the top right part, draw a head from below. If you would have just practiced drawing boxes or warm up 30 minutes before every day of drawing, his faces would be much more solid already.
In salmon, I wanted to go through every color I had because I didn't have that many.
I love the colors.
I drew this one
Nice.
and I did it so sloppily that I felt like I could have done that better. So I really tried on this one. It's quite cute. I
That's
like
quite
it.
good.
It reminds me of an anime I watched when I was way younger. I don't remember.
Also,
Yeah,
see,
it was like a
shapes
redhead
get
girl
better
with a
again.
samurai sword. Did a purple one. These are very anime drawings. You know what I mean? But it's fun to see it in front of you. Too scared to color this one. Oh, my new favorite.
Wow.
I love this one.
So, I mean, besides the back eye, and she kind of like has a little bit of a, yeah, the back eye is kind of like a bit off, and the front eye, yeah, let's not talk about the eyes. Nevertheless, see again, shapes are really cool here, like these shapes of the hair, because they can create a lot of visual noise, but also can communicate a lot of clarification. The way he's using these Copics feels like he kind of like knows what he's doing. The black for the clothing and also leaving a bit of spot there for the highlight is really nice. That he left a brighter area on top of the head, so kind of like there is a top light. And then the transition from the green to the yellowish thingy and kind of like matching it with the pupil. Man, that looks pretty cool. I really like that drawing. Looks really nice. So good job.
This is on day 84. This is nice to look at. I think it works. So it took me 40 days to feel like I drew something I liked again. I feel like there's definitely an improvement. I can see it already, but it just took me so many tries. And I was trying different...
And that's the thing, because he's trying and he's not... I'm sorry if I'm too strict here. Also, I'm German, I want to say. First of all, I'm German. Okay, so I'm very direct. I hope that's an excuse. But the thing is also, he's trying, right? Like he said. He doesn't have a game plan. If he just would kind of like practice perspective every day before he jumps into these figures, it would make his learning curve so much better. If you have same thing, just try that. Make sure that you get perspective in. Because also, to make proper figures, you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to know anatomy 100%. If you have a knowledge, that's good. A lot of people have a lot of knowledge, but they cannot really assess it and use it for their drawings. So just focus on perspective, right? Best example, Kim Young-ji, one of my most favorite artists who ever was. He was the master of perspective. And he also said he do not know everything, but he knows perspective. And that kind of like gave him the power to make these incredible drawings.
Every time the head is shaped differently, it's like...
But also I want to say, I love that he takes references, because that's something that also changed the game plan of the outcome for any artist. Because if you start really to use reference to assess you while creating artwork, it just improves. Like every mangaka, every comic book artist, every professional artist, they all use references because you can't save every information. What's important is the essence of your idea. That comes from here, but everything else comes from an outside. Why not? Damn, that looks nice. I want that keyboard.
Not used to it. So I drew from the side for the first time, and as you can see, it took a lot of tries. But I got there, okay? There was a painting here. I felt like I just needed more practice with different angle of the head, so I tried to do as much as possible. Yeah, different styles of coloring. It's a shame it bleeds through the coloring. I didn't like that one. I tried, I just wasn't happy with it. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Too scared to color it. Don't ask me what happened here. Still really struggling to be consistent with the different angles of the face. Messed up the eye. I remember liking this one. Started drawing sad anime girls. and Chainsaw Man. 99, I felt like I could finally more consistently draw different face angles. It didn't take me 600 tries, as you can tell by the lack of eraser, in comparison at least. That concludes my 100-day drawing challenge.
Nice. PewDiePie, if you ever need help, reach out to me. It was my first time doing a reaction video, and I hope I do not was too strict. I wish you all an awesome day. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.